do you have any sense of the team's reaction to Luka's injury? Any feel for what the expectation is and what the mood is in light of what happened today?
Yeah, it's way too soon to call it. But look, I mean, the way this week was unfolding, the Portland game on Monday, it wasn't a certainty that he was going to play in the game. And obviously, as he was making his way back, he obviously was hoping that was the last of the setbacks and that he could continue on. And so to immediately in the game after Portland to deal with a calf strain, and we know the calf strain has been something he's been dealing with since literally day one of the season, when the day before media day takes a kick from a teammate in a pickup game, and it's just kind of lingered, and he hasn't been physically. I think you see he looks sharp and came back without a hitch in the Portland game. So for this kind of setback, I mean, there's, again, we don't know severity, but before today, he was already on a pace to play fewer than 60 games. You would have to imagine that they're going to have to take a cautious route with bringing him back from this one. Like, this ain't going to be a matter of days. I mean, you have to think it's most likely going to be weeks with an S, barring some diagnosis that just shocks and surprises everybody. But, again, it's premature to even talk about recovery windows until they can take a longer look at it. But I'm just approaching it with a common sense kind of approach here that, because there's been some sort of issue he's had to deal with almost nonstop since the season started, I would just have to imagine that it's going to be a cautious approach bringing him back.
What happens next? Like, we don't know the severity. We don't know how much time he's going to be out or anything like that, but we can assume it's going to be for a little bit here.
Yeah, I think a safe working assumption, again, yes, we're speculating, but a safe working assumption, they did call it a calf sprain.
Strain.
But yes, strain, because a sprain would be to a ligament, not a muscle, or a tendon, or a joint.
I don't know. Just you were cooking.
Yeah, so it's going to mean more Spencer Dinwiddie. It's going to mean more Quentin Grimes, who my guess, and Quentin Grimes started the second half. My guess, although we'll see, maybe it's Najee Marshall, but my guess is that Quentin Grimes gets the initial starting nod with Spencer Dinwiddie coming off the bench, running the second units. It could flip around. It could be Najee Marshall. Najee Marshall has not been playing a lot, but Najee Marshall's best minutes have come this season when either Kyrie or Luka have been out.
Yes.
And so this is a good chance for Najee Marshall to get back in the flow. A player who was available today, Jaden Hardy. He's back from his ankle sprain. He is somebody who's going to get chances. He's going to have to get chances. The team needs another guard. They need another ball handler. They need somebody who can get 2 feet in the paint just by beating his man. And that is something Jaden Hardy can do at times. There's inconsistency and flaws to his game, stuff we've discussed a lot, but this is a necessary, you got to have depth. You've got to have players who can step in and fill those minutes. And this is an opportunity for them. It's a bummer that Dante Exum is not nearing a return. When he first got hurt, we were hoping that it would be, the very end of December, early January. Unfortunately, it does not look like he's, just like a week. He is not a week away from coming back by everything that we've seen. He's probably
not shooting. He's doing left-handed stuff.
Yeah. I don't think he's 2 weeks away from coming back. So that's a real bummer. But yeah, I guess we've seen this team be good offensively, be very good offensively in games that Luka has missed. They can survive his absence on the offensive end. The problem is just the load, the wear, the total amount of minutes. And so as long as Kyrie is able to play 37 minutes in a night like this, you can have a chance against a team like Minnesota. You can have a chance against a team better than Minnesota if you play better from the start.
And it's just a lot of work on, but a lot of stress on him. He's missed a lot of work. Over the last 17 games coming into today. He'd only missed 2 of them. Luka missed 8. So that's doing a lot of heavy lifting without him. And the Mavs' upcoming schedule, they're about to go on a 4-game road trip. Then they come home for 1 game. Then they go to Memphis. And then they come back home for a back-to-back. So it is like the next 2 weeks is pretty chaotic. What you said about Dinwiddie, I thought was initially going to be true. Like I thought we were going to see a lot of Dinwiddie in this game in the second half. He was not good in the first half at all. He played 4 minutes in the second half tonight. He was 0 for 2.
0 of 7 overall.
Yeah, he's really, and he had some really big shooting games without Luka. I'm not trying to turn this into a dunk contest on Spencer Dinwiddie's head or anything, but one thing that he's really not been able to do much this season is get the ball in the paint. And we really saw that as soon as Luka went out, unless Kyrie was the one able to break his man down, Najee didn't play too much. Dinwiddie didn't play too much. They had nothing going toward the rim, like toward their bigs. There was no lob game tonight. Everything was very, very perimeter oriented. Now, Minnesota's defense is really good. Minnesota's defense is something fierce. They are really, really good on that end of the floor. And the Mavs' upcoming opponents are not. But you're going to be asking Kyrie to do a lot of heavy lifting for the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, hopefully not any longer than that. And at his age, and at Klay's age, and at Dinwiddie's age, again, the whole point of this season was to win enough games to put yourself in position to host a first-round series and also to give Luka, Kyrie, and Klay some time to gear up for the playoffs. I don't want Kyrie having to be in playoff form in December just to keep this thing afloat. And I also am tired of Luka getting hurt every December. I'm tired of Luka missing so many games. It sucks. It sucks, but it feels like it's this way every year.
Yeah. I don't have a solution for that. I don't have easy answers. I will say I completely agree with you on Spencer Dinwiddie. He's played 600 minutes. I was going to say small sample size. It is a smaller sample size, but 600 minutes is a decent amount. That's way more than we thought he'd have at this point of the year.
Yeah.
And this is the worst percentage he's had at the rim, within 3 feet of the rim, since his 17-18 season. Actually, it's worse than that, but that's the first time that he's been like under, not in 65% at the rim. He's just 56% at the rim. He's also not getting there. And that's more what you were saying. Back at the peak of his career, he was taking, almost a third or at least a quarter of his shots he was taking within 3 feet of the rim. He is down to 10% of his shots coming there. So it's a combination. So like the one time he got there tonight, the one time that I really recall, he flubbed a layup. I don't think he's usually going to do that, but it is just indicative that, he's having issues both getting there and finishing there. It does seem like he's really reliant on when he does get to, a foot in the paint, he's trying to throw that lob pass because he doesn't feel, great about where to go with it, how to finish, or it's turning into like a turnaround fadeaway jumper. It's still good to get into the paint, and I still think that's a necessary part of the team's offense. And if he can do that and kick it out, like that's how the offense is going to keep churning without him. But yeah, it may end up being the case that the team has to rely on a Jaden Hardy a little bit more. And you just got to hope that this is his moment, because Jaden Hardy's season has not been as good as any of us, certainly him, would have liked it thus far this season. There's going to be a lot of eyes on him, a lot of expectations on him here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and we've been told and we've been saying on this show that the Mavs are extremely deep, that this is maybe the deepest Mavs team in franchise history. I don't think anyone expected it to be put to the test so often, so early, but that will be the case again.
And the problem is depth doesn't matter. I'm actually not going to say that. I'm not saying what depth doesn't matter when the players you're missing is Luka and Kyrie.
Yeah, I mean
those are not replaceable players on the roster
but
now.
It's the unfortunate reality that the Mavs face.
Yeah.
And, again, Dinwiddie looking kind of poor tonight and the bigs struggling a little bit. Again, Minnesota, I know my guy Joey in the chat just disagrees with reality, but Minnesota has an elite defense. They've been the number 2 defense in the league for more than a month. They have a lot of length. They have a lot of rim protection.
The best defense last season.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why the Mavs offense would look horrible without Luka for long stretches of this game. And the Mavs defense was suffering, so they were never getting any transition looks or anything. But the upcoming schedule is full of good teams. It's not full of teams that are better defensively than Minnesota. So hopefully they'll be able to figure it out. But we'll see.
We all silly like the mayor.